And welcome back to the Heavy Debriefings podcast. You just got done hearing my interview with Jordan Blum, and make sure to go check out all of his work scattered throughout the music and pulp culture universe. And of course, check out his books on Jethro Tull, Dream Theater, and now Opeth, On Track. Now that did eat up a good part of the show, and I love it when that happens. I love being able to have a good conversation, and I hope you enjoyed that as well. But now it's time for me to get back into my part of the show, and let's talk about 6 brand new albums that have either been released or are coming out this week. And this is probably the most varied collection of albums that I'm covering so far as I'm doing this, as it pretty much covers 6 genres that I do enjoy. And all 6 of these albums I do enjoy. I'm not gonna say they're my favorite albums, although some of them deserve to be praised as some of the best albums. But this week is quite varied, and I guess I'm kind of leading into that because the first one is not even a metal album. It is the brand new album from Blood Incantation, Time Wave Zero, which is available now through Century Media. If you've ever checked out Blood Incantation in the past, they are extreme progressive death metal. Heavy emphasis on the death metal, with some progressive moments going on there and everything to the extreme. And they finally got signed to a bigger label with Century Media, and they decided to do the exact opposite of their previous album. And they have released an ambient synthwave album. Like, if you're looking for something along the lines of the Blade Runner soundtrack, or something John Carpenter would do with less dynamics, if you're just looking for something that has a lot of synth chords, very mellow, it feels very dark as well, but just very mellow. You're not going to find any blast beats, you're not going to find any death growls. It's instrumental, ambient, synthwave music, which, with that being your debut album on a bigger label like Century Media, that takes some balls. That takes some fortitude that you are just presenting to the label and you're presenting to the world. You do not care what anyone thinks. You are simply making the music that you want to make. And with this album, it is perfect to have on in the background. It is background music, and I do mean that in it's a little bit complicated, but I do mean that in a complimentary way. Like, I have been playing Horizon Forbidden West, and having Time Wave Zero in the background this weekend has really helped with the feel of the album, and it helped with the feel of the game. Like, both really complement each other in a way that I did not think was going to happen, but it really works. But if you've checked out Blood Incantation in the past and you're expecting anything like that, don't, because this is not that album. It is not that album remotely. This is Blood Incantation basically saying, fuck everything that you've heard in the past. We're making an album that is simply for us to show off another side of ourselves. We'll get back into the space, alien-influenced death metal at some point. But right now, in 2022, we want to make a synthwave album for Brian Eno fans. And it works. I personally would have wanted a new Blood Incantation album for what they've been known for, but if you just want something on in the background, yeah, it doesn't get much easier than this. Next up, I have the brand new album, which is a double album, of course, from the progressive rock kings, the Flower Kings, with By Royal Decree coming out this Friday through Inside Out Music. And wow, this is a great prog album in 2022. No matter what you enjoy in classic prog, whether you're looking for that Beatles sound, whether you're looking for that Deep Purple sound, whether you're looking for the King Crimson sound, or most importantly, you're looking for that Flower King sound, it is shown off throughout all 18 tracks here, and it is by no means a short album. It is well over an hour and a half, and it runs the gamut of heavier songs, proggy songs, ballad songs. They all fit together so very well. It is such a greatly constructed track list and double disc album that really just fits the mold of what you need in prog in 2022. Everyone in the band has just been showcased off in brilliant ways, and they allow each other to be able to show off in their ways. I mean, it's not technical wankery by any sense of the imagination, but when the guitars shine, they really shine. When there's a massive drum fill, you hear every single note. When those synths come out to really bring home a point, that point is brought. The Flower Kings is a dangerously underrated progressive rock band, and they've been around for so long. They've been toured with so many great bands. They've played festivals with so many great bands. They've had so many great members of the band. I mean, Daniel Gidlow of Pain of Salvation was in the band at one point, which I find to be so cool. But the current lineup that they have here in 2022 is just so perfect. And while not everything is going right in the world right now, prog is in the right direction. And I'm so happy to see that here with the Flower Kings. And by royal decree, if you've just been looking for that classic progressive rock sound, it's here in strides. If you're not as familiar with progressive rock, this album is going to take you a while to really absorb everything that's going on, but if you let it be itself, and you give it the chance to absorb you, it is going to be so worth it. It's just that kind of album that you can have, relax, and enjoy over an hour and a half of brilliant progressive rock. I can't recommend it more. And then we got the brand new album from Hammerfall, Hammer of Dawn, which is available now through Napalm Records. And wow, this is the absolute darkest album from Hammerfall in quite some time, if not their overall darkest album to date. No matter the speed of the song, no matter the instrumentation, every song on here just feels nice, dark, and evil, and it shows a different side of that Hammerfall godlike sound. And when you can get King Diamond to be able to do some backup vocals, you know you're in for a good time. I will say I wish there was more of those King Diamond vocals, because King Diamond singing over Hammerfall is something I didn't know I wanted or needed until I saw it was a reality. And just hearing him do backups is everything I've wanted, but now that I've heard it, I need more. So I hope there's more collaboration with that in the future, but otherwise, just like the tuning is darker, good old heavy double bass going on. The riffage on here is just nice, strong, and powerful. It's everything that I love in a power metal album. And it's so great to see that Hammerfall, while still being a very fun band, and let's face it, they are a cheesy band, and that's why I love them so much. Their ballads are some of the cheesiest ballads that you'll ever hear in your lifetime. Just go look at their previous work. It is so cheesy, but that's what makes it so good. And with Hammer of Dawn, it's darker. It's the darkest work I think they've done, and it's still cheesy, it's still fun, it still puts a smile on your face when you listen to it, and that's what I go to Hammerfall for. I don't want technical wizardry, I don't want blast beats, I don't want anything crazy absurd. I just want fun, happy sounding power metal, and the fact that Hammerfall has done that with Hammer of Dawn and put a nice dark tinge on it, it's gonna stand out to me as one of my favorite power metal albums of the year. Every track on here is absolutely solid from start to finish, and I really hope I can get to the point where I can see Hammerfall live and hear these songs, because if they sound this good on record, and especially after not being able to play live for so long, especially in America, it's gonna sound incredible live. So if you like that dark sense of power metal, please check out this brand new album from Hammerfall. Coming up next is the band either known as Hoth or Hath. I'm assuming it's Hath, like Hell Hath No Fury. I'm assuming, and I apologize if that's wrong. But they have their sophomore album, All That Was Promised, coming out this Friday through Willowtip Records. And this is easily one of the most jaw-dropping albums I've heard in death metal in so long. One problem that I do have with the death metal genre as a whole, especially with a lot of things that have come with all the different subsections of death metal, is trying to just be as technical as possible for absolutely no reason. It doesn't fit the song, it's just masturbation on the fretboard. There are some people who can do that so very well, and there are bands that I love who do that do it so magnificently. But when every musician tries to do that, everything gets lost in the shuffle. Whereas a band like Hath, they are known as progressive blackened death metal, and what an apt description. They cover all the different territories of death metal that just fit them so very well. It gets so brutal, then on the turn of a dime, it just hits some sinister black metal tones, and then it'll make another sharp left left turn and it'll get proggy. You'll hear some Opeth moments going on here. And then you also get that classic death metal sound to them as well too, where they can show off their technical ability, but it's done with purpose. All the songs, all 9 songs here, a little over 50 minutes. It is just a brutal album from start to finish. The album cover is absolutely sick, and I don't usually use that description for an album cover, but I gotta say it with this one. The album cover is sick. I love it. And considering this is just the band's second album, and I just really love what they've done here. And it helps that they're also video game fans as well too, because the lyrics are very, very inspired by gaming. Whether you got Dark Souls, whether you got tabletop games, whether you just got dark fantasy in general, it just fits so very well with them. And when you really pay attention to the lyrics that's going on, or if you can't understand the lyrics, I advise you to go look them up when the lyrics become available. You'll see exactly what's going on here, and the music is just that perfect soundtrack to it. Like, if I was more into the Dark Souls type games, I want to be, but I just suck so hard at those games. And just getting my ass handed to me for hours upon hours on end, well, maybe at some point I'll give it another shot, but as of right now, it's not that much fun for me to just get my ass handed to me like that. But when I see people play these games, when I look at the mythology of the games, these songs just really fit that atmosphere so very well. And I gotta imagine with Elden Ring, you could throw this on Spotify and play Elden Ring, and this will be just an amazing soundtrack to accompany it. This is what I want when you go to the extremes of death metal, and Hath is just simply incredible when it comes to that. And I gotta thank Carrie the Metal Geek over at Metal Geeks and MSRcast and Metal Resistance for showing me this band when I was on his show, which I highly recommend you go check out. It's the latest episode of the MSR cast, and he plays Hath for us, and it's jaw-dropping to me. I love it, and I hope you enjoyed as well too if you enjoy the extremes of death metal. Next up, coming out this Friday as well, and it's gonna be coming out through Metal Blade Records, is the brand new album from Midnight, Let There Be Witchery. Now, this is one of my favorite fun metal bands out there. And I mean that in the best way possible, because it's blackened rock and roll. It's Motorhead meets Venom, and with all the sick, twisted, and just straight up fun lyrics that if you don't take metal so seriously, or if you're on the opposite side of the coin where you do take your lyrics seriously, this is the band for you. It works on both sides. All 10 songs here, just a little over a half hour, just about 35 minutes. I mean, you got songs like Let There Be Sodomy and Devil Virgin. I mean, you know what you're getting into when you look at the lyrics, and Sex Witchery, which is just a perfect song to be able to end the album. It's just a fun rock and roll inspired black metal album, or it's a fun blackened rock and roll album. Either way you want to be able to look at it, it is just nice, evil, and fun. And the thing with Midnight is, they don't need to reinvent the wheel. I mean, Midnight's not that kind of album where every single album is significantly different than the others. It's got that nice Motorhead AC/DC feel behind it, where you know what you're getting into when you hear more than one Midnight album. But that's also what makes it so much fun. The lyrics, the styles. It's just that fun adventure that you go into where it's kind of like watching a B-horror movie. It's not the scariest. It's not the goriest. It's sometimes very, very silly, and sometimes it might take itself a little too seriously. But the fun is there. The fun is just so much throughout the entire album and throughout the entire band. I've yet to have the chance to be able to see this band live, but I can only imagine how much fun it is to be able to see these guys live, and the fact that they're going on tour with Mayhem, chef's kiss. Mwah, so perfect. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a fun, evil album. Go check out Let There Be Witchery by Midnight, coming out this Friday. And finally, we come to Sabaton with The War to End All Wars, coming out this Friday through Nuclear Blast. And how ironic is it, the coincidence of Sabaton releasing a war album about World War I, as we might be on the verge of hitting World War III. It was entirely possible this was going to happen, but the fact that it is happening is just so thick in the irony. It's so close with the coincidence, and while you're not going to find any reinvention of the wheel when it comes to Sabaton, much like I just talked about with Midnight, when you check out Sabaton, you're getting a war-themed power metal band, and that is every single album. Amon Amarth does that with every single Viking metal album. AC/DC, of course, does that with their signature sound. Slayer does that with their signature sound. And sometimes you just kind of need that comfort food. Like, you want to know that a band is going to be solid. When you check out that album, you know what you're getting into. You don't have to guess what's going to happen. You just know it's going to be the album that you were looking forward to before you hit play. And yeah, this Sabaton album is a Sabaton album. It's got the great heavy power metal moments. It's got the great mid-tempo stompers. It's got the more little bit ballady stuff going on there. And of course, when you're covering a topic like World War I, all you history buffs out there, all you war history buffs, all of you war fans, you're gonna learn something on this album. Whether it's about an unkillable soldier, or it's a Christmas truce, or Sarajevo, you're gonna experience something new here. With as many times as I've seen Sabaton live, they absolutely kill it every single time, so I can only imagine how these songs are gonna come out in that live capacity, but knowing that Sabaton might be going on tour while there's a war going on, I mean, doesn't that just fit the mold? Isn't that what you expect of the band? I mean, if we're about to hit World War III and Sabaton is touring the world, I mean, what a time to be alive. But getting back on track, if you like fun, war-themed power metal, it doesn't get any more industrial grade than Sabaton. They cover everything that you're looking for, and they do it so very well in a way that no one else can duplicate, because they have that signature patented sound. And of course, that album is coming out on Friday through Nuclear Blast. And those are 6 albums that I've been checking out over the past week, and some of them I absolutely love, some of them I enjoy, and some of them are just good background music. When you need some kind of background music because you have tinnitus, and silence is a killer. And hopefully between all 6 of these albums, you'll find something to enjoy. I know I certainly did.